The vast council chamber floated in the neutral zone between star systems. Ambassador James Walker stood alone at the center, representing all of humanity. Around him, 12 alien species sat in judgment. The Krull Empire's representative, a massive creature named Vorn, spoke first. "Humans are too dangerous," Vorn declared. His 4 arms gestured dismissively. "They spread too fast. They adapt too quickly. They must be contained." James remained calm. He had come here with hope. Earth had sent him with gifts of technology, medicine, and art. Humanity wanted to join the Galactic Council as equals. They had followed every rule, every protocol. "We come in peace," James said clearly. "Earth offers friendship to all species. We have cured 3 diseases that plagued your worlds. We have shared our farming techniques. We ask only for a fair chance." The council members whispered among themselves. The Zellan delegate, a thin being called Crix, stood up. "You humans fought wars among yourselves for thousands of years. How can we trust you won't bring that violence to us?" James pulled up holographic displays. "Yes, we fought, but we learned. We united. For the past 100 years, Earth has known only peace. We channeled our energy into exploration, science, and art. Look at what we have achieved." The holograms showed human colonies working alongside alien traders. Children of different species playing together on frontier worlds. Human. Doctors saving alien lives, but Vorn wasn't convinced. He had already made his decision before the meeting began. The Krull Empire feared humanity's potential. In just 50 years since first contact, humans had colonized more worlds than the Krull had in 500 years. "Pretty pictures mean nothing," Vorn growled. "The council has decided." James felt the air change. Something was wrong. "Decided? But you haven't voted yet. This is supposed to be a discussion about membership." The other council members looked away. They knew what was coming, but were too afraid of the Krull Empire to object. Vorn pulled out an energy weapon. "The decision was made before you arrived, human. Your species is too dangerous to exist." James raised his hands. "Wait, you're making a mistake. Humanity doesn't want war. But if you do this..." The weapon fired. The blue energy beam struck James in the chest. He fell to his knees, his life fading. With his last breath, he activated the emergency beacon in his suit. It would send everything that happened here back to Earth. Tell ... Earth ... James gasped, looking directly at the recording drone. "Tell them ... I tried ... He collapsed. The chamber fell silent. Crix shifted nervously. Was this necessary? They will retaliate. Vorn laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the chamber. Let them try. The combined fleets of the Council can destroy their primitive ships. Humanity has, what, maybe 1,000 vessels? We have 50,000. The Terex ambassador, a small creature named Pip, spoke up weakly. But their technology advances so quickly. Maybe we should silence, Vorn roared. It's done. Send word. To all Council fleets. Begin moving toward human space. We strike before they can react. The Council members filed out, leaving James's body on the cold floor. None of them noticed the tiny drone that had recorded everything, or the quantum transmitter in James's suit that had already sent the footage to Earth. On Earth, in the United Nations Military Command, General Robert Stone watched the video feed with growing rage. Around him, world leaders appeared on screens, all watching the same footage. They murdered our ambassador, the president said quietly, in cold blood during a peace summit. General Stone turned to face the assembled leaders. James Walker was a good man. He believed in peace. He died for it. His voice hardened. The aliens have made their choice. They chose extinction. The room erupted in angry voices, all in agreement. Humanity had tried peace. The galaxy had chosen war. In shipyards. Across Earth and its colonies, workers received new orders. Every factory switched to military production. Every scientist was reassigned to weapons research. Every ship was recalled and refitted for battle. The aliens thought humans were dangerous before. They were about to learn what humanity was truly capable of when its survival was threatened. The emergency session began exactly 1 hour after James Walker's death. Every leader on Earth and the colonies connected through quantum communication. President Lisa Johnson's face was stone cold. As she spoke, they killed James in cold blood. The entire Galactic Council watched and did nothing. She paused, looking at each screen. Motion to activate Protocol 7. Protocol 7. The word sent chills through the room. It meant total war. No restrictions, no mercy until victory. All in favor? President Johnson asked. Every hand raised. Every voice said yes. Humanity spoke as one. General Robert Stone stood up. Time to show them what we really are. Admiral Lee, activate the Ghost Fleet. On the moon of Jupiter, hidden inside what appeared to be a mining station, Admiral David Lee entered a code he had memorized, but never thought he would use. Deep beneath the surface, massive doors began to open. One by one, black ships emerged. Not the 1,000 vessels the aliens knew about. These were different, sleek, silent, invisible to any known sensors. The Ghost Fleet had 5,000 ships, and they had been waiting for 20 years. All Ghost Fleet commanders, this is Admiral Lee. We are weapons-free. I repeat, weapons-free. Humanity's survival is at stake. Captain Maria Torres commanded the lead ship, the Vengeance. Her crew had trained for this moment their entire careers. Navigation set course for the Crawl Frontier colonies. Maximum speed. Captain, her weapons officer, Lieutenant Tom Brown, reported. Prometheus weapons are online. Prometheus weapons. Humanity's secret. Antimatter missiles that could crack a moon in half. Nanoswarms that could eat through any armor. Virus bombs designed to disable any computer system. The aliens thought humans were primitive. They were about to learn otherwise. Meanwhile, on the Crawl throne world, Vorn received the first reports from his spies. He laughed at first. 5,000. Ships? Even if the humans have hidden that many, we still outnumber them 10 to 1. His advisor, a younger Crawl named Axe, looked worried. Sir, there's more. The humans, they're different now. Every factory on Earth has switched to military production. Every human between ages 18 and 60 has reported for military service. That's 12 billion soldiers. Vorn's laugh died. 12 billion? That's impossible. No species mobilizes their entire population. Humans do, Yax replied. And sir, their technology. Our spies report they've been hiding their true capabilities. Their ships are using propulsion systems we don't understand. Their weapons ... double quotes. He paused, fear clear in his 4 eyes. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen. Before Vorn could respond, alarms began screaming. On the main display, 3 Crawl Frontier colonies appeared. A second later, they were gone, not damaged, not burning, gone. Nothing left but asteroids. How? Vorn whispered. The answer came from Earth itself. Every communication channel in the galaxy activated at once. General Stone's face appeared, his expression deadly calm. This is General Robert Stone of the United Earth Forces. 1 hour ago, you murdered our ambassador. James Walker came to you with open hands, offering friendship. You killed him like an animal. The general's eyes narrowed. You thought humans were dangerous when we were being peaceful. That was your first mistake. The transmission showed the destruction of the 3 crawl colonies in real time. Your second mistake, Stone continued, was thinking we showed you all our strength. For 50 years we smiled, we traded, we helped, all while building the greatest war machine the galaxy has ever seen. Not because we wanted war, but because we knew that someday, someone like you would force our hand. President Johnson appeared, next to the general. The Galactic Council has 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. Hand over everyone who participated in Ambassador Walker's murder. Dissolve the council. Submit to human justice. Her voice turned ice cold. Or we will hunt down every last one of you. The transmission ended in the council chambers. Crix the Zellan turned to the others. What have we done? Pip, the small Terex, was shaking. The humans they planned for this. They knew someone would betray them eventually. Another alarm. 5 more crawl colonies had just vanished. Then 10 more. The humans weren't negotiating. They were demonstrating. Vorn stood up, his massive form trembling with rage and for the first time, fear. Prepare all fleets. We fight. But deep down, he knew the truth. They had awakened something terrible. Humanity wasn't just fighting a war. They were coming for extinction. Asterisk. 24 hours passed. No surrender came. Captain Maria Torres stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching the crawl fleet form defensive lines around their homeworld. 50,000 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled. It didn't matter. Lieutenant Brown deployed the swarm. From the belly of the Vengeance, millions of tiny drones emerged, each one no bigger than a human fist. They spread out like a dark cloud, moving faster than any missile the aliens had ever seen. The crawl fleet opened fire. Laser beams, plasma, cannons, nuclear missiles. The drones dodged everything, learning from each attack, adapting instantly. This was humanity's gift, not just technology, but the ability to evolve, to adapt, to overcome. The drones reached the first crawl battleship. They didn't explode. They simply landed on the hull and began to eat. In seconds, the mighty warship was full of holes. Atmosphere vented. Crew died. The ship crumbled into dust and the next ship. And the next, Admiral Lee watched from the command. Ship. All Ghost Fleet units. Begin attack pattern Omega. Show them how humans wage war. The human ships didn't fight like the aliens expected. They didn't form lines or trade volleys. They appeared from nowhere, struck and vanished. They used the enemy's own weapons against them, hacking their systems, turning their ships against each other. On the crawl homeworld, Vorn watched his mighty fleet die. Half gone in the first hour. This is impossible. No species can fight like this. Dax, his advisor, pulled up intelligence reports. Sir, the humans don't fight like other species. Look at their history. They've been killing each other for thousands of years. They've perfected war into an art form. And now, now, they're united. A new alert. Human ground forces had landed on the planet. But these weren't normal soldiers. Each human wore powered armor that made them stronger than a crawl warrior. They carried weapons that could punch through any shield. Leading them was Colonel Jack Miller. He had lost his brother on one of the destroyed frontier colonies. This was personal. Remember, Miller told his soldiers, we're not here to occupy. We're here to end this. Find Vorn. Find everyone who voted to kill our ambassador. Justice will be served. The human forces moved through the crawl capital like a plague. They didn't kill civilians, only military targets and government officials. But they were unstoppable. Every strategy the crawl tried, the humans had an answer. Every trap was avoided. Every ambush was reversed in the council chambers. The remaining members watched the feeds in horror. Crix the Zellan stood up. Enough. We must surrender. The humans are showing restraint now, only targeting military forces. If we continue fighting, they might stop being merciful. Merciful? Laughed a Vothan representative named Grok. They're exterminating us. No, Pip the Terex corrected, his small voice shaking. They're being surgical. Look closely. They avoid civilian areas. They only hit military targets. If they wanted extinction, they'd just destroy our planets like they did those colonies. It was true. The humans could have glassed every world from orbit. Instead, they were hunting specific targets. On Earth, General Stone received a transmission. It was from 3 council species, the Zellans, the Terex, and the Morven. They wanted to surrender. They wanted to help catch those responsible for James Walker's murder. General, Crix appeared on screen. I was wrong to stay silent when they killed your ambassador. Let me make it right. I know where Vorn is hiding. Stone considered. You stood by and watched him die. Yes, Crix admitted, and I will carry that shame forever. But some of us never wanted this. We were afraid of the Krull Empire. Now we see that we should have been afraid of humanity's justice. Instead, President Johnson made the decision. Those who help us will be spared. Those who resist will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to prove your commitment. Within that hour, rebellions broke out across council space. Species that had been forced to follow the Krull turned against them. The galaxy learned that humans could be merciful to their friends and terrible to their enemies. Vorn tried to run. He made it to his personal ship, but Colonel Miller was waiting. Going somewhere? Miller asked, his weapon aimed at Vorn's head. Please, Vorn begged, something no Krull had ever done. I was following orders. The council voted. You pulled the trigger, Miller said simply. You killed a man of peace. Time to pay the price. The hunt was ending, but the real work was just beginning. Asterisk, the trial was broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Vorn stood in chains before a human tribunal, but the judges weren't just humans. Sitting beside them were representatives from species that had been oppressed by them. Galactic Council for centuries. Judge Helen Park, Earth's Chief Justice, spoke clearly. Vorn of the Krull Empire, you are charged with the murder of Ambassador James Walker, conspiracy to commit genocide against humanity, and war crimes against 17 different species. How do you plead? Vorn's forearms hung limp. The mighty warrior who had ruled through fear now looked small. The council voted. How do you plead? Judge Park repeated. Not guilty. I was protecting the galaxy from... A hologram appeared. It was the recording from James Walker's suit, showing Vorn pulling the trigger. The court fell silent as they watched James die again. The evidence speaks for itself, Judge Park said. But this trial isn't just about one murder. It's about a system of oppression that has lasted for centuries. Witness after witness came forward. A Terex elder named Pip testified about how the Krull had enslaved his people for mining operations. A Zellan scientist explained how the council suppressed technology that could have saved billions of lives just to maintain control. Then Crix took the stand. I stood there when Ambassador Walker died. I did nothing. I was a coward. He turned to face the human section. But I want to tell you something about your ambassador. In his final moments, he didn't beg. He didn't threaten. He looked at us with pity. He knew we were making a mistake that would destroy us. The trial revealed the truth. The Galactic Council hadn't been a democratic body. It had been the Krull Empire's tool for controlling the galaxy. Smaller species were forced to obey or face destruction. General Stone presented military evidence. We found prison camps on 12 Krull worlds. Political prisoners from species that tried to resist. We freed over 3 million beings. The footage showed emotional reunions. Families separated for decades, finally together again. Children who had never known their parents. The galaxy watched and wept. Dr. Alan Wright testified about the biological weapons the Crawl had been developing. They weren't just planning to contain humanity. They had viruses designed to wipe out any species that opposed them. We found stockpiles ready for deployment. President Johnson addressed the galaxy. Humanity came to the stars, hoping to find friends. Instead, we found an empire built on fear and oppression. James Walker's death wasn't just an attack on humanity. It was the last crime of a corrupt system. As the trial continued, something unexpected happened. Ships began arriving. At Earth, not warships, but civilian vessels. Aliens who had heard about the trial, about humanity's mercy to those who surrendered, came seeking protection. An old Morvan trader named Rex spoke to human reporters. For 200 years, my people paid tribute to the Crawl. They took our children for their armies. They took our resources. We couldn't fight back. Then humans came, and in 3 days, they did what we couldn't do in centuries. They broke our chains. The rehabilitation programs began immediately. Human teachers went to former council worlds, sharing technology and knowledge. Human doctors treated diseases the council had ignored. Human engineers helped rebuild cities damaged in the war. But not everyone received mercy. Those who had actively participated in atrocities faced justice. The trials continued for months. Each verdict was fair but firm. Vorn was found guilty on all charges. As Judge Park read the sentence, she said something that echoed across the galaxy. James Walker believed, "In justice, not vengeance, you will not be executed. You will spend your life helping rebuild what you destroyed. You will face your victims every day and work to earn forgiveness you may never receive." Vorn was sent to work in the reconstruction efforts. Every day, he saw the faces of those he had oppressed. Every day, he saw humans and aliens working together, building something better. The Galactic Council was officially dissolved. In its place, a new organization was born, the United Galactic Federation. Every species had equal representation. Every voice mattered. Krix became the Zellan ambassador to Earth. In his first speech, he said, "Humans taught us that strength without mercy is tyranny, but mercy without strength is weakness. They showed us a third way." The galaxy was changing. Former enemies worked side by side. Hidden technologies were shared freely. Diseases that had plagued worlds for millennia were cured. But in the midst of reconstruction, humanity hadn't forgotten why this all started. Plans were being made for a memorial that would ensure James Walker's sacrifice would never be forgotten. Asterisk. 5 years had passed since James Walker's death. The memorial stood in the exact spot where he had been murdered, but the chamber had been transformed. Once a place of fear and oppression, it now housed the United Galactic Federation Parliament. President Johnson, now Secretary General of the Federation, stood before representatives of 43 species. Humans sat beside Crawl, Zellan next to Terex, former enemies now united in purpose. "Today," she began, "we commemorate not just a death, but a birth. James Walker's sacrifice gave birth to a new galaxy." The memorial itself was simple but powerful. A statue of James, hand extended in friendship, surrounded by holographic stars representing every member species. The inscription read, "He died believing in peace. We fought to make his dream real." Captain Maria Torres, now Admiral Torres, watched from the gallery. The Ghost Fleet had been transformed into a peacekeeping force. Their mission had changed from destruction to protection. Young cadets from the new Federation Academy stood at attention. Among them was an unusual sight, a young Crawl named Dex, son of Dax, who had served under Vorn. He wore the same uniform as his human, Zellan, and Tarek's classmates. My father told me stories of the war, Vex had written in his admission essay. He said humans were monsters. Then he met them. They spared his life when they could have killed him. They taught him that strength means protecting those who cannot protect themselves. That's why I'm here. The academy was General Stone's idea. Take the young of all species, train them together, let them form bonds that would prevent future wars. It was working better than anyone had hoped. In the engineering section of the station, Dr. Alan Wright worked alongside Krull scientists on a new project. The same technology that had created weapons of war was now opening wormholes for instant travel between galaxies. Funny, Wright said to his Krull colleague, a reformed weapons designer named Tor. We spent so much time creating ways to destroy each other. Now we're using that same knowledge to bring us closer together. Tor nodded. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. War made us innovative. Peace is making us wise. The transformation was remarkable. Earth's medical technology had eliminated most diseases across the galaxy. Krull engineering combined with human creativity had built cities in space that housed millions. Zellan agriculture fed worlds that had known famine, but the biggest change was in the former Krull Empire itself. Vorn still worked in the reconstruction efforts, but something had changed in him. He had started as a prisoner doing forced labor. Now he chose to continue. Colonel Miller, now retired, visited him once. Why do you keep working? Your sentence ended a year ago. Vorn's 4 arms never stopped moving, building homes for war refugees. I took one life that could have changed the galaxy for the better. Now I build so that others might live. It will never be enough, but it's all I can do. The ceremony continued. A young human girl and a Terex boy placed flowers at the memorial. They were students at the first integrated school on Earth, learning each other's languages, cultures, and dreams. Crix, now an elder statesman, gave the keynote speech. James Walker came to us with open hands. We met him with closed fists. Humanity could have destroyed us all for that betrayal. Instead, they chose to open our fists and teach us to extend our own hands in friendship. He paused, looking at the mixed crowd. Some say humanity won the war. I disagree. James Walker won. His vision of unity, of peace, of friendship between species. It just took a war for us to see it. Admiral Lee announced the launch of the newest exploration vessel, the James Walker. Its crew was equally diverse, and its mission was to find new civilizations to extend the same hand of friendship that James had offered. We go armed, Lee admitted, because we learned that peace requires strength. But our weapons are our last resort, not our first. As the ceremony ended, President Johnson shared one final thought. James believed we could be better. He died for that belief. Every day since, we've tried to prove him right. Look around this chamber. Former enemies, now friends. Former oppressors, now protectors. Former victims, now equals. She pointed to the stars visible through the transparent ceiling. Out there are more civilizations, some peaceful, some not. But they will all learn what we have learned, that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our ability to transform enemies into allies, to build rather, then destroy, to choose hope over fear. The crowd dispersed, but the memorial remained, a permanent reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come from the worst tragedies. James Walker had achieved in death what he couldn't in life. United Galaxy, *.